I am Professor Dr. Namita Rajput, Professor in Department of Commerce, Aurobindo College, University of Delhi. In the ongoing series of Art of Being Happy, today we are going to talk on idea of self. Yes, we need to understand the concept. So in this we will be taking care of the concept, the self-identity theories, followed by the various dimensions and the relationship between self-awareness and happiness, self-discovery and the personal growth, followed by self-compassion, self-acceptance and how to nurture your own self, which is definitely very important aspect. And also we will be talking about how to balance the individuality and interconnectedness and role of the self-reflection and the introspection in the personal development. So starting with the concept called concept of self. Now self is a fundamental and a complex concept that encompasses a person's comprehension of their own existence, identity and the personal characteristics. It refers to an individual's subjective awareness and the perception of themselves, distinguishing them from others and the external environment. Now coming on to self-awareness. Self-awareness, which is a capacity to ruminate on and recognize one's own thoughts, emotions and actions. It is fundamental to the concept of self. Now this self-awareness enables the people to develop a sense of identity which shapes their beliefs, values and attitude. The self is not a fixed entity but rather a dynamic and evolving construct that is influenced by a variety of factors such as social interactions, experiences and the cultural context. Now self-concept development begins in infancy and continues throughout the life. It requires the introspection and the social comparison. The individuals engage in self-reflection through introspection, examining their own thoughts, their own emotions and their own motivations. Now, social comparison entails comparing oneself to others, which aids in the development of the self-esteem and evaluation of one's own abilities and the characteristics. The psychological theories such as Sigmund Freud psychoanalysis, Carl Rogers humanistic theory and Erik Erikson physiological and psychological development theories, they have been conducted and they have conducted the extensive research on the concept of self and for a healthy self-concept. These theories, they emphasize the significance of self-awareness, self-acceptance and the satisfaction of psychological requirements. Now self is a multifaceted concept that incorporates the self-awareness and identity formation and the personal traits. It plays a very crucial role in shaping the perceptions, behavior and interactions of individuals with their surroundings. Now understanding oneself is very crucial for the personal development, self-acceptance and forming a very meaningful relationship with the others. Now starting with the theories of self-identity. There are numerous psychological theories which have investigated the concept of self-identity, and in an Indian context there are specific perspectives that provide the insights into the formation and the comprehension of self-identity. Now there are some key theories of self-identity in an Indian context which are presented in follows. The first is Atman. Atman is the eternal self or the soul that is believed to be actual essence of a person. Now according to Hindu philosophy, it is considered the transcendent identity that is connected to divine consciousness. The second is your karma and reincarnation. The belief in karma and reincarnation is profoundly embedded in the Indian philosophy, and according to this belief, one's action in the past incarnations affect their current situation, and the cycle of birth and the rebirth continues until the spiritual liberation, which is called as moksha, is attained. Now, this view emphasizes a continuous and evolving self-identity throughout the multiple incarnations. The third is your yoga philosophy. The 8 limbs of yoga, including the identity of self, and are outlined in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. The self-realization is central to the yoga cosmology, which emphasizes the merging of individual soul, that is Purusha, with the cosmic mind. So one's true essence beyond the egoic self is seen as a goal of self-identity, which is seen as transcending the oscillations of mind, which is called as chitta. The next is ahimsa and non-duality. Non-violence ahimsa is a fundamental tenet of Indian philosophies such as Jainism and Buddhism. These traditions advocate non-dualism, in which the ego is viewed as interconnected with all other beings and the universe. Now, this point of view emphasizes the inherent unity and equality of all living things. The next is your social identity and the caste system. In the Indian context, social identity is also influenced by the caste system, a hierarchical social structure founded on birth. The caste plays a very significant role in the formation of a person's social identity, with each caste possessing distinct roles, responsibilities and the privileges. Next we have is bhakti and devotion. The devotional practices of bhakti are prevalent in Indian religious traditions, and it also entails cultivating a profound sense of devotion and surrender to a particular deity or manifestation of the divine. The individual identities are significantly shaped by bhakti practices, which cultivate a sense of devotion, love and connection with the divine. There are many different ideas about the self and its relationship to the ultimate truth. They are represented in these many Indian philosophical conceptions of self-identity. They shed substantial light on the investigation of one's own identity, realization, and the dynamic between one's own self and the universal self. So one's sense of self and its role in one's own development and enlightenment can be enhanced via reflection on these philosophies. The next is your exploring the different dimensions of the self. Understanding the various aspects that contribute to a person's sense of identity and the self-awareness is required for exploring the various dimensions of the self. So here are some important considerations in this regard, out of which first we will discuss, that is the physical dimension. The physical dimension of the self refers to the tangible and the biological characteristics of a person, such as their appearance, health and the physical abilities. Now, this dimension includes the height, weight, age, gender and physical endurance. Next is your cognitive dimensions. Our thoughts, beliefs, perceptual capacities and intellectual abilities make up the cognitive part of the self. It includes our ability to pay attention and remember the information, reason and solve the problems. Now, in order to dwell into these dimensions, we must become aware of our own thought process, question our preconceived notions, cultivate a growth mindset and commit to a lifetime of education. The next dimension is your emotional dimension. The emotional dimension concentrates on a person's emotional experiences, including their range of emotions, emotional intelligence, and emotional regulation. It involves comprehending and managing one's own emotions as well as recognizing and empathizing, responding to the emotions of others. Next is we have a social dimension. The social dimension of a self is comprised of an individual's interactions and the relationship with others. It comprises of the social roles, cultural identity, social skills, communication styles, and a sense of belonging to diverse social groups or communities. The next most important dimension is a moral dimension. The moral dimension incorporates the ethical beliefs, values, and the principles of an individual. It involves knowing the differences between right and evil, making moral judgments, and acting in accordance with one's own moral code. The next is your spiritual dimension. The spiritual dimension of the self entails the investigation of one's beliefs, values, and the meaning. It involves the pursuit of the meaning, development of a personal philosophy or the world view, and connection to something greater than oneself. The next is your personal identity dimension. The personal identity dimension reflects the unique combination of the characteristics, experiences, and the role that distinguishes an individual from the others. It consists of the characteristics such as personality traits, personal accomplishments, interest, and the life experiences. Understanding and investigating these various facets of self can actually contribute to a more complete and holistic sense of self. Individuals can gain a deeper understanding of themselves, their motivations, and their relationship with others and the world by recognizing and cultivating each dimension. It also lays the groundwork for personal development, self-acceptance, and the pursuit of happiness and fulfillment. Next is your relationship between self-awareness and the happiness. Now, there is a very deep connection and relationship between the self-awareness and the happiness, and it is definitely a very complex relationship as the self-awareness plays a very pivotal role in promoting the overall happiness and also the well-being. So, definitely we are going to examine the relationship between the self-awareness and the happiness. Out of which the first what we have to discuss is the authenticity and alignment. The self-awareness enables the individuals to have a greater comprehension of their values, beliefs, and the personal objectives. When individuals are in touch with their genuine selves, they are able to make decisions and engage in activities that are consistent with their fundamental values and the goals. Now, this alignment, it increases the contentment by fostering a sense of purpose and the accomplishment. Next we have is emotional regulation. The self-awareness enables people to recognize and comprehend their emotions as well as their triggers and fundamental causes. The individuals can effectively regulate their emotions and respond more constructively to the challenging situations if they are aware of their emotional states. The emotional regulation contributes to a greater emotional health and the contentment overall. Next is a personal growth and development. The personal development and growth, self-awareness requires the willingness to investigate and ruminate on one's strength, weaknesses and the areas of development. The individuals can actively pursue the personal growth and development if they actually comprehend their own skills and the areas of enhancement. So, this pursuit of development and self-improvement is associated with the increased life satisfaction and a sense of accomplishment. Next is a relationship enhancement. The self-awareness extends to an understanding of how one's thoughts, emotions and actions influence their relationship with the others. Individuals can engage in a healthier and more fulfilling relationships when they have a very clear comprehension of their own needs, boundaries and communication styles. The stronger interpersonal relationship and a sense of belonging substantially contribute to the overall happiness. So, relationship enhancement is a key to success and a key to happiness. Next is we have a resilience and the coping strategies. The self-awareness actually permits people to identify their particular stressors, their coping mechanisms and the behavioral patterns. With this knowledge, individuals can develop their strategies to effectively manage the stress, navigate the obstacles and build resilience. So, possessing the coping abilities improves the emotional health and contributes to a more optimistic and resilient outlook on the life. Next is we have the gratitude and mindfulness. Self-awareness, it actually enables the individuals to cultivate a sense of gratitude and practice the mindfulness. Individuals can actually develop a greater apprehension for the positive aspects of their existence by being aware of their thoughts, their emotions and surroundings in the present moment. So, this emphasis on the gratitude and mindfulness has been associated with enhanced contentment and the well-being. So, we can say that knowing one's own self is actually very crucial to finding the fulfillment in life. It enables the people to actually understand their own self, choose the particular actions that are in line with their value system, how to deal with their own feelings in a very constructive ways and build a very healthy relationships, expand the different horizons and accept and care for themselves. So, enhancing one's own health and happiness is a direct result of one's efforts to gain insight about one's own self. The next most important part is a self-discovery and the personal growth. The personal growth and the self-discovery are actually intertwined process that involves examining one's own identity, values, the strength, limitations and the goals. So, they are actually the journeys of self-discovery and the growth that result in a greater comprehension of one's own self and the realization of one's own potential. So, here is an analysis of the significance and the relationship between a self-discovery and the personal development. The first is understanding the values and beliefs. So, exploring and recognizing one's fundamental values, beliefs and the principles is very important part of the process of self-discovery. And when we know what actually drives us, we may take choices that are very consistent with those value system. By helping us making decisions that are congruent with who are truly in this harmony is a very powerful catalyst to the personal development. Yes, we are talking about the value system. The second is your exploring the identity. The self-discovery entails exploring one's own identity and understanding the numerous roles, labels and the characteristics that comprise who they are. So this incorporates the cultural identity and the beliefs, and through this exploration, individuals can align their actions and decisions with their genuine identity and actually develop a very stronger sense of self. Next is we have a continuous learning and development. The self-exploration encourages a growth mentality because it is a continual process. The more we learn about who we are, the more open we are to taking in a new information, expanding our own horizons and developing the personality. So personal development and the skill acquisition, they actually benefit greatly for this dedication to a lifelong education. Next is we have a setting goals and taking actions. The individuals can identify their incliners, interests and aspirations through the self-discovery, and it assists them in establishing the objectives that are aligned with their values and desires. So the personal development entails taking deliberate measures towards these objectives and accepting the new challenges and continuously learning and expanding one's ability and the knowledge. So individual experience and a self of progression accomplishments and the satisfaction through these process. The next is your embracing change and resilience. So self-discovery and the personal development frequently necessitates that individuals leave their control zones and accept the change. So this procedure fosters the resilience, adapting and willingness to confront the obstacles. So we can say by embracing the change, people expose themselves to a new experience, perspective and the growth opportunities. Thank you so much.